Okay, so now we're into Maya. We need to connect up those the animated texture files, and before we do that, I'm going to give you an overview of what I've done, and then I'm going to erase it and do it over again. So what we've got going right now is I've got two attributes. I've got an enumerated attribute, or an enum, that I can click on, and I can pick with which shape that I want here. So if I want the O shape, or the smile, or scary, or sad, they're all there. And I can go back and edit this attribute if I want to, and add more to it if I like. And then in combination with this, the mouse shape attribute, I have this mouse shape pose attribute. And these are just integer values between, and well, I don't think I limited it, but it's intended to be used from 0 to whatever number of images you have. So I only have 4, so my range is 0 to 4. Now these two attributes are used inside of an expression which will drive the frame number, or frame extension, of the file node. So if I frame that up, here's my file node that I currently am driving with this attribute. And I can see in my channel box that attribute is driven by an expression. It will be by default when it's created. When you check this use image sequence checkbox, it's going to automatically hook up an expression, and this image number will be connected to time by default, and we're going to replace that for what we want it to be connected to. Okay, so to view this expression, the easiest way that I can think of is just to navigate in the attribute editor to that node, and then you can right click on it and click edit expression. So here's my entire expression, which we'll go through and write in the tutorial, and that is using my attributes to determine what the frame extension should be, which in turn picks the correct picture. Okay, so now let's go through and delete these attributes. See if I can't delete them from in here. Nope, I can't. So we'll delete them from out here. I got them selected. I go to edit, delete attributes. Okay, they're gone. Now, the first thing to do is I'm going to uncheck this use image sequence, and I'm going to reset this back to default. Okay, so this is what your files are going to be like when you start out. So what you want to do is select the mouth file node. Well, actually, before we do that, what we want to do is we want to select our controller that we want the attributes to be on that will control our face shapes, or mouth, or well, in this case, mouth shapes. And I'm going to go to edit in the control box and add attribute, and I'm going to add the mouth shapes I'm just call it mouth shape. I'm going to change my data type to enum. By default it gives you a green, blue. All you have to do is select on the one that you want to change. And then you have this new name down here. You just alter it right there. So O is my first one. I click on blue, and then I did smile, and then I've only got two there, but there's actually a third one. You just can't see it. If you click on the empty space right below smile, then you'll get the next one, scary. And it always adds one more for you, scary and sad, or frown. Yes. Okay, so I have O, smile, scary, and sad. I'm going to click add, and there it is. Now I need to add my mouth, shape, pose. If you can think of a better name than that, great. I don't particularly like that name, but that's the one that came to my mind. And I'm not going to set a maximum. Actually, I do want to set a maximum on there. I want it to be a maximum of 9. So I can't have any more than 9 poses. Otherwise, I'm going to carry over into my next set of poses. I just thought of that. And I'll click OK to add that. Okay, now I've got the necessary attributes. So I'm going to go to my File node. I'm going to press Ctrl A to open my attribute editor. I'm going to click this Use Image Sequence. And I'm going to pick the first image of the sequence in my image name. I'm going to go to the mouth. And mouth underscore 00. Open. And now I've got this image number attribute here. The real name of this attribute, Maya likes to do this every now and then. The real name of this attribute is called the frame extension attribute. Okay, but before I do this, I need to know the name of the controller that has the attributes on it, because that's how we can reference specific attributes. So I'm going to select it like I'm going to rename it and just copy it. And then I'll go back over here and select my file node. Get to my attribute editor. Then I'll right click on this image number and click, and then select edit expression. And now, right now it just says ojac underscore mouth transparency file dot frame extension equals to frame. Okay, so frame is your frame count on your timeline. We don't need that. So I'm going to do this kind of how I did it, just so you guys can hopefully more fully comprehend it. First thing I want to do is I need to set this ojac mouth underscore transparency file dot frame extension. I need to set that to something besides frame. So I'm picky about formatting. So this needs to be set to, and here's where I paste, ojac main control, and then dot, so I can reference the attribute name. And I need to remember the actual name, not just the, whether I used uppercase, lowercase, all of that, it matters. Okay, and so I called it mouth shape, and that's why it's important to get used to using camel case. Okay, then I'm going to multiply this by 10 so I can have my power of 10 number that I need. And then I'm going to add my ojac main underscore control dot mouth shape pose to that. And then I need to end the line in a semicolon. Now that's not always true. Actually, in Maya, if you have just a single line of code, you don't have to end it in a semicolon, but it's good practice to go ahead and do it.